Welcome back to Sew What, the Imperfect Sewist, a place where we listen and don't judge. We instead focus on mind over matter as we walk with you through your beginner sewing journey, so you too can become a Sew What sewist. So, what are we sewing today?
Today we'll be making a beginner-friendly pencil pouch. Kids are about to go back to school, and now is the perfect time to put your fabric stash to good use. These are easy to make once you get a hang of it, and if you get confused, save this video on your YouTube playlist and come back later for a refresher. So let's get started. I was just going over the fabrics you will need. You're going to need a 7¼ by 2.5 inch tab. This is what it looks like, and I will put the list in the description so you can come back to it. In addition to that, you'll need a zipper. I have an 8.5 inch zipper, and you can either get a pre-cut zipper or you could get a zipper by the yard. This just happened to be exactly what I needed, so there was no need to cut it. And then you will need 2 pieces of interfacing, also and each of them is going to be 9 by 4.75. And this is a fusible interfacing. So as you can see here, it has a little bit of a shiny area to it. And then on the back, it's not shiny. So this area here that's shiny is the area that has the glue. And unlike last week where we worked with primarily a heavier weight interfacing, this is more what you would consider medium. You will need 2 pieces of your outer piece of fabric, or what we call the main piece. So this is the main piece, and I absolutely love this fabric. It's from Crafty Dough, and I will include a link if you're interested in picking up a pack for yourself. They're fabric fat quarters, and they're absolutely beautiful. I love them. Like, honestly, I can't even say enough about them. I'm just moving some things out of the way here so that it's not in our way as we continue sewing. And then you will also need the linings, also cut to 9 by 4.75. You'll need some sewing clips, which we have here, and you will need a ruler to square your corners, but I will get that as we go along. So let's go ahead and get started. I meant to get that ruler out earlier, but never got a chance to. So let's go ahead and get started with this here. Now, first of all, we're going to start ironing. You know what I always say, I hate ironing, but it's a necessary part of actually sewing. So we're going to do that and just get our fabric pieces ready for our sewing. So this is ironing. We're not pressing just yet. If you were here last week, I talked about the difference between ironing and pressing. So we're going to first iron this because it does have a crease on it. And we'll iron all 4 of our fabric pieces, and then we're going to start the process of pressing the interfacing into our main fabric piece. So these are my 2 fabric pieces here, and I have the inner piece here that I'm going to just smooth out a little bit. This is a lighter weight fabric, so it's almost like silk-ish. I'm not even sure where I got it from, but I just like that it kind of blends into the inside. Obviously, this is a pencil pouch that can go in the wash, which is perfect. So, you know, it's all fabric and it's not waterproof. So you can always throw it in the wash, especially because, you know, kids, they play, they throw their pencils in there. The pencils leave marks and all the fun stuff. So you want something that they can use and you will continue to get the benefits from for years to come. And I don't know if I'm the only person that absolutely hates having loose threads on my sewing or work area. Okay, so now that we have that set up, the next thing we're going to do is start the process of adhering our interfacing to our fabric. So you're going to take the main piece of fabric, put it down, and you're going to take the interfacing. Now, this is what the interfacing looks like I mentioned earlier. The glue part, which is the part that's shinier, you're going to put that down. And for this one, you are going to need, so I think I cut this a little too big, which is fine, or is it slightly bigger because it was on this piece here? Let's see. Now it's slightly bigger, but that's okay. So we're just going to take this, and I can take off the excess later as we go. You're just going to take this and put it down with the glue side facing down. And now we're going to do the pressing part. Okay, so remember when I tell you pressing is different from ironing, and you want to make sure that your fabric piece adheres. So in my case, it's shifted, so that means I have to pull it off before it really does stick and start. So this is what I'm saying. You have to actually pay attention to this. And we're going to you will need to apply a little bit of force to get this fully down. And while we're getting started and going along, let me know where you're watching this from. I would love to know where you're watching it from. And also tell me a little bit about your sewing journey. How long have you been sewing? What do you like most about sewing? Do you do any kind of holiday sewing? I tend to make a few items as the seasons change, but I know not everybody does that. So if that's something you do, you find interesting, let me know. This is primarily a beginner sewing channel. So most of the projects I make here are projects that are easy for beginners to pick up. Now, so this is where people get caught. Okay, so my interfacing is slightly longer. I am not going to use my fabric scissors. I am using my craft scissors here to just take that piece out. I should have made the interfacing slightly smaller, but no problem. It's not one that cannot be remedied. Okay, so this is basically paper or interfacing paper. I'm just going to take that and set it aside in my trash bin. So now I have my interfacing adhered to my one part of my main fabric, and I will repeat the same thing on the second part here. So we're going to look for the shiny side, put it down on here, and starts the process of keep adhering this to our fabric. Yeah, so like I was saying, do you typically do things for the holidays? Do you sew for family members? Are you looking to learn to sew so that you can attend craft shows? I'd love to hear what you do or what you're interested in doing. That would be a great way to also get to know you a little more for those who are watching for the first time. Again, this channel is primarily focused on beginner sewing projects. And I will occasionally have projects that might be a little more intermediate, but it's I promise you it will not be stuff that people can't do or follow. So it just means that the video might be slightly longer to ensure that my beginners here can continue to follow what I'm doing. There are lots of channels where you can just go and get a full understanding or be able to do a lot more and sew garments and all of that. While that is great, sometimes people just need the foundation of how to start, and that's what this class is focused on, starting and not feeling overwhelmed. Okay, so I have both my pieces ready to go. Now, the first thing we're going to do is set the iron to the side because we don't need it just yet. Again, we're going to come back to it, but now we're going to start the process of putting things together. Well, I forgot to iron this, so see, best laid plans and all the stuff that you think you're doing, and obviously didn't finish it. So I'm gonna iron this, which I should have mentioned. This is the tab piece, and we're going to be cutting this in two. So what we're going to do now that I've ironed it flat is I'm going to fold it in half, like so. If you already have pre-made tabs, that's great. Or if you have webbing that's the right size, that's fine. I like to use the 1-inch webbing. However, this is one project where you actually do need, you don't need that wide of a webbing. So that's why I am doing this. And let's see if I can make this a little bigger so that you can. Okay. So there we go. Okay, so we're going to take this now and fold it into the center crease that we just created and just iron along as we go. There's no rush in this. This project takes approximately a half hour once you have gotten the hang of it. So take your time. And then we're going to do the same on the other side now. Take that side and fold it into the piece there. If you've never made a tab before, here you go. This is really easy. Okay, so now we have this, and then the next thing you're going to do is take this and fold it in half. So lots of folding, but I promise you we're not spending the entire class ironing, okay? We're just going over getting our pieces together so that when we start assembling it, it's a little easier to work with. Okay, and I'm just going to turn my machine because it makes it easier when I actually have to work with it. Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is, like I said, you're going to set your iron aside and cut 2 inches off of this piece here. So I'm going to use my ruler and just mark off 2 inches. Or I can use my my cutting board right here and just mark that off. And I am going to use my rotary cutter and just cut that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, so that's done. And now what we're going to do is take each of these pieces. I'll move this out of the way for you. I want to see if this is, that's why it didn't. I want to see if I can make it a little more increased in size for you. Okay. All right, there we go. Let's see if that's a little easier. Okay, so we're going to take these pieces now and sew them straight down. So let's do that first. Move this over here so you can see what I'm doing. Just a straight line. Remember, I use black threads because it makes it easier for you to see what I'm doing. And of course, you have the option to sew this down um, before we did the cut. I just happened to do it this way. There is no one wrong way or right way. We already cut our 2 inch. It's not going to impact the project per se. So, all right. So the first part is done, and now we're going to do the second. Let's see if having the slide will help a little bit. My second piece is right here. And I'm going to take this now and do a straight line across. So this is primarily straight lines. We don't have any curves in this project, which is good. And we'll take off the thread pieces later. So these two are done. So now the first thing we're going to do is take this and just fold it like so in half, and take a clip and clip it. We're going to set this aside. If you like, we can take off these thread pieces here, the thread tails. And we'll do the same thing to this here. I have a thread basket on, but I moved it before we started so that I could easily access my machine. So I'll put that aside so I can put them in the thread basket. And we'll do the same thing we did here by going ahead and folding this in half as well, like so. And both of these pieces now are going to be set aside for us to come back to. Okay. All right, now let's go back to our cutting room board and continue the process for assembly. So we're going to take this first part here, and the first thing we're going to do is take our zipper and just put it down like so against the longer piece of our fabric. So this is the longer side. Okay. This is a little bit of a directional fabric, so I'm trying to be careful here to make sure that I have it in the right direction. And then we're going to take the lining, this lining here, and put it down against that. So if you're new, this might take a little bit of time, but there is no rush. So just take your time. If you feel more comfortable working with pins, that's also fine. We're just gonna go slowly and use our clips to hold these parts together. What I will say is the most important piece is to make sure you're getting all three parts. Okay, so the zipper, the the primary lining, which is your main fabric, and the inner lining. Okay, so we're going to put that together now and go ahead and just sew a straight line across. Don't worry so much about doing a back stitch. It's not necessary, or if you do it, it's not really something that's going to break the bank, so or break your project. So let's go ahead and just do that now. I happen to have a foot, like a zipper foot. I have a strand of hair on me that I've been struggling with all evening. Found it though. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch into my zipper foot right here. It makes my life easier. If you don't have a zipper foot, you can still work with what you have. I just find that a zipper foot does make the project a little easier to work with. But if you don't have one, please don't feel like it's the end of the world. You can still do this without a zipper foot. Because I don't want this video to be excessively long, that's why I am going with what I have to make it go as smoothly as possible. So I'm going to use my zipper foot, lift this, and start the process of sewing this down. Okay, slow and steady, making sure all three layers are together. No rush, all three layers together. I'm gonna open that a little bit so that it doesn't. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. I seem to have a shadow, I'm not sure why, so. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. Oh, I see. Hold on. That should help a little bit. Okay, there we go. It's fully down, and this is, of course, I sewed it on the wrong side. Okay, so this is what happens when I'm not paying attention. It's supposed to be on the right side, so let's go ahead and seam rip this off. And they don't call me the imperfect sewist for nothing, okay? A good reason why we didn't backstitch, because it would have taken extra time to take that off. So we'll just go very carefully. I was wondering why the color looks different. Okay, so let's do this again. It's supposed to be on the front side. There we go. Zipper here. We'll take off the excess threads later. Zipper down, fabric facing you, and your lining facing down. Now we're going to go ahead and clip those. I feel like I've had the sneeze that just will not come out. Yo, I'm trying to get it out. They say if you look towards light, it actually will come out. I don't think that's true. But it's irritating, clearly irritating my nasal path. So, all right. So let's go ahead and do that again. The right side this time around. Okay, so this is what it should look like now. And your zipper should be with the right side facing up and the right side of your fabric. So we've done that one side. We're going to set this down and then just kind of flatten it by using an iron. So we'll set that, move our sewing machine, bring this over, and then just kind of lay it flat. Help it by laying it flat so that it sits better and flatter. Okay. All right, so now that we have that, what we're going to do now is take our other piece of fabric. So this is a little bit of a directional fabric. So obviously you can see the bumblebees are facing one area. So I want to make sure that they're both facing the same side. So we'll take this, put this fabric piece now on top of it. Put both our fabric pieces together. You want to make sure that you are lining everything up properly. Okay, and then now you're going to take your other lining and kind of repeat what we just did, okay? On the other side. Put that there. Put that in. Making sure everything looks good. Clip it again. I love working with sewing clips, especially if you're a beginner sewist, because it just, you're not as afraid of getting your fingers pricked. It's one less thing to be nervous about. And I gotta say, I'm gonna give myself kudos because in the past, if I had made a mistake live, I would freak out. 1000% freak out. But I held my own, so I think I'm doing good. Okay. All right. So now we have this. We're going to go ahead and just sew another straight line like we did before. Yes, you're keeping your zipper foot. And we're just going to get that done. Making sure you're catching all 3 layers. The advantage of having one of the benefits of having a zipper foot is that it's one less thing to worry about. I'm not sure how my fabric just folded there. When you're sewing. Okay, so now we have all 4 pieces together. So this is what it looks like. And remember how we ironed this side? We're going to go back now and do the same thing to the other side because the next thing we're going to do is flat stitch those. So let's go ahead and bring our iron back. This is our last time using the iron. Yay! All right, so we'll take this. We just want to flatten it a little bit to make sure that everything sits as it should. And just gonna move this a little bit. There we go. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. All right, so now we have this and we're going to sew a straight line down. Now, I'm going to show you something else that we're going to do because we want to kind of sort of hide the stitches. I'm going to turn off the iron here and set that aside because now I know we're fully done with this. Bring this back. So now as we're doing this, what we're going to do is we'll take this side, but instead of sewing it down with the liner, we're going to move the liner to the side and then just sew it flat. Okay, so we're still using our zipper foot because we're still working around the zipper. So we have the one side done, fully flat here, and we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Move the liner to the side and just go ahead and sew. So both your liners are out of the way, okay? So both liners, let me show you if you're not sure, both liners are out of the way. Just pulling it taut so I don't accidentally catch it. Okay, this is coming along just great. Now let's go back to our cutting table. Actually, before we do that, let's take off our loose threads because it will make our job a little easier as we go along. So we'll take those off. And now start the process for almost fully assembling this. So we're going to take this now, putting both of our fabric pieces together, and then putting both of our outer fabric pieces together and both of our inner fabric pieces together. So it's almost like you're creating a rectangle. So this is a rectangle. So we're going to make sure we do that. But before we start sewing, we want to create an opening that's going to allow us to turn this inside out. So what I'm going to do is, instead of relying on my memory to say, hey, stop, I'm going to go ahead and mark this. And I'm not marking it with a B, putting it in the oven for baby and me. I love that nursery rhyme. I don't know how many people listen to, I don't even think people still listen to nursery rhymes, but so basically I just marked this area here, and I'm going to go ahead now and sew everything around, stopping here, and sew this around and stopping here. Okay? Actually, I'm sorry. I'm sewing this side and I'm sewing this side here. So don't leave this edges. Okay, the shorter sides, leave them, and we'll come back to those later. All right. So it's a little hard going between two cameras. I think that's where I struggle a little bit. So we're going to take the lining, fully align it. Fully line it. Use our clips to hold it together, and we don't want to forget to change our foot. Okay, so we'll do that. Changing the zipper foot becomes like second nature once you've done this a few times. I'm going to go ahead and change that real quick. Done. And then we'll do the same thing here. Only on this side, we're going to do a full sewing straight down, a full sewing straight line on this side here, versus the other side where we're leaving an area, an opening area. Okay, so now let's do the main fabric side first, and then we'll come back to the other side. Okay. See. For seam allowance, I will say it's about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So what's most important is that you capture both sides of your fabric and not just one. So just make sure you remember that. So we have a straight line down there, and we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. But remember, we have an opening in between. So just, you'll see it once it's done here. And because we have that opening, I'm going to back stitch on this side because I don't want it to rip when I'm trying to use it. The opening is primarily to turn my fabric inside out, so I don't want that to rip when I'm trying to do that. So I'm going to back stitch from the In the last side, I did it as I started, and I'm going to do it as I to start here as well. So I will show you where I did the back stitch. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I left this area open right here in the middle, right here. It's open. I backstitched here, and that's because I wanted to reinforce it so that when I start turning things inside out, I don't run into problems where it starts to come apart. Now we're going to go ahead and start the folding part of this, just taking off the excess threads. So we'll take this and create kind of like a hole, put our fingers in there and put it down, fold it like that. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, almost like you're creating a bow, so to speak. So putting it like so and like so. We're going to capture, making sure that our zipper is in the center. And take your time with this. It might take a little bit of time to make sure the zipper is fully closed and in the center, but that's fine. Don't rush it. We'll do that. And then just clip that for now. And then clip the sides. Okay, so now we have this side, and this is the end side. In other words, this is, if you were opening a zipper, it's the end of the zipper. We're going to take this shorter tab that we created earlier. Remember that? We're going to take that, take this clip off, put it right in between where our main fabric is. Main fabric, not the lining, main fabric, okay? And then just put it together and clip that, okay? So let's see, make sure everything is still together. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and sew a straight stitch down here, making sure you are able to capture that main fabric and that you're capturing your zipper pull. I am reinforcing this by doing a back stitch right when I get to that end there. This is what it looks like right here. And we will repeat the same thing on this side. So take the main piece of fabric, create your little pocket there, put your hands through, fold it in half, take this and fold it like so, okay? Clip the first side, clip the second side, and our longer tab that we created earlier, you're going to take that and stuff it into, again, our main fabric side. Okay, so you just stuff carefully, but making sure your zipper is fully together on the inside. And then now we're going to clip this. And we're going to sew a straight line. So since my clips are facing this side, I'm going to start on this side. And yes, I am back stitching now with this. And when I get to the area where the tab is, I am double back stitching a couple of times just to reinforce it because it's going to be the most used area. Okay, so these are done. And then next I'm going to use my pinking shears to just kind of smooth things out a little bit. Just because my lining seems to be fraying quite a bit. Oh, I seem to not be able to do that. I need more arm strength, right? All right, so we've done that. We'll clear our cutting table. Move that again to the trash. And we have this now. So let's take off our loose threads from the side. And set that aside. And we'll use this to open things up, okay? So where's my zipper? Oh, I should have mentioned you do want to open your zipper a little bit so that you can turn it inside out. But there's no way you can do this without having your zipper slightly open. That's primarily because otherwise you would be literally sewing over a zipper, and you should not be doing that regardless. So it's kind of like you don't have a choice anyways. But the zipper should be slightly open. Take your time doing this. Remember, I told you I had to double stitch in the edges for my opening because I wanted to make sure that everything would be good to go. Okay. Just putting it in. Stuffing, stuffing, stuffing. Opening it up. And we are going to box these corners, so don't worry. It's not going to be flat. Now we open this up. So this is what your piece should look like right now with the lining piece. So we're going to take that inner fabric that we had and then just sew it because we no longer need that opening. We're going to go ahead and sew it right now. If obviously if I had white thread or if I was working with white thread, it would be easier to hide it, but I'm working with black thread. So don't come for me. It's so that you can see what I'm doing. I always feel like my hands are longer than they actually are. It's like, no, they're not that long. You do need the help and you need it to be fully in there. Okay. So we're going to see that, put that in, and then just sew. So we've sewn the lining piece shut now. That was the area that allowed us to turn our fabric inside out. And we're just going to stuff that in for now. And then now what we're going to do is make sure all our corners are fully poked out. And we're going to start the process for boxing our corners. So for boxing the corners, you're going to want it to be approximately 3/4 of an inch. Actually, I lied. I don't like the way this looks, so I want to actually have it flat or iron flat. So I will turn on my iron again and see if anyone has any questions. While that heats up, I'll take off the excess threads here from my initial mistake and clean up my table here. Okay, so this is what it's looking like right now. This is what we've done so far, and I'm going to get the get my box. Let's see, trying to. Let's do the measurements while the iron is still heating up, okay? So we're going to take this and measure 3/4 of an inch. And we'll do the same thing from here, 3/4 of an inch. So we have 3/4 of an inch here and 3/4 of an inch here. And measure 3/4 of an inch up. And put our lines together. Okay, so it's going to be this way. So what we're going to do is do that on each side, each of the individual sides. I feel like I could poke this out a little bit. Okay, there we go. And we're going to repeat this on all four sides rather. There's no other way to do the box corners. I gotta say, of all the sewing things, I don't know if I hate. I wouldn't say I hate box corners. I just find them a little um boxy. I guess that's the word. Oh, perfect measurement there. And we'll do the same thing here. Oh, I have to first measure this out. So we'll go in 3/4 of an inch. I had a special ruler I was going to use and didn't bring it out, so I have to use this special one. So the good thing is once you do it on one side, it's easier. You can just fold and use it, as long as you have a good sharp pair of scissors. But before we do that, I want to iron this flat so that it doesn't look so wrinkly. So I'm going to go ahead and iron this. If you have questions, let me know in the chat. So we're just going to, we're ironing this flat right here. Okay. All right, so I have my 3/4 of an inch, taking my tab out of the way, and I'm going to use my scissors. I have precision shears, and I'm going to use it to make sure I get exactly what I need. So this is what it looks like. It's cut on this side, and I will repeat the same thing. I only marked 3 areas if you noticed, but I am using the markings from one side to do the other. Okay. All right, so we're taking these. There's nothing you can do with this, so we're going to go ahead and toss them. And this is what it looks like right now, okay? So you have both sides. Now we're going to take these, match them, make sure all 4 pieces of fabric, so it's main, lining, lining, main, match up. And we're going to sew that flat down, okay? Back stitch, you do want a back stitch. Okay, so we just did that. We'll do the same thing here. Sandwich it together. Main, lining, lining, main. And do a flat stitch, back stitch on either end. Two sides done. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Don't worry, I'm not crazy. I'm not sewing the wrong side. We are going to turn it inside out and sew it on the other side so that you don't see the seams on the right side, okay? So we'll take that and do this last bit here. So just 4 straight stitches more to get this completed. So we'll just, now let's go ahead and take off our excess pieces of threads because you don't really absolutely have to, but because you want to, okay? So we're taking those off. That still makes it easier for you to see what I'm doing. And this is what it should look like now. And we're going to turn this now inside out. And all of the corners, this is what we want our exterior corner to look like. We're just going to take those and sew them down, okay? So this is a good method to use if you don't have extra fabric to create, the lining like you typically, not the lining, but like the tabs like you would put over seams. You can just use this method. All right, so we're gonna do this and then just sew straight down using 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And we're just going to repeat the same thing. I am back stitching again because I want to reinforce the edges, okay? We'll repeat that on this other side as well. Using about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I got cut on my zipper. So that's done. Just taking these excess threads off. Just 2 more stitches and this will be completely done, okay? We'll take that again, 1/8 of an inch, and sew it flat. And we'll repeat on the last side. And this is it. You have created a zipper pouch. Your first ever pencil zipper pouch. If you're new to sewing, or if you're an intermediate and you just wanted to try something different, you've just created one. Okay, and that's it. So now let's go ahead and turn everything inside out. I'll move all my thread pieces over to the side and come back here and look at what we've done, okay? So we've created a little zipper pouch. And you can, oh, I have a piece of thread here. Can put, I don't have pencils right here with me, but I have a marker and I have my my marking pen, so I'll use that, throw that in there. I have a little pencil eraser thing, throw that in there, and voila. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and let me know. I'm always happy to answer questions, but hopefully you'll make these for your kids as they start school this fall. And I am going to go ahead and leave all of the measurements in the description. So until next time, remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. So take your time in learning how to sew, get the basics, and they continue to progress from there. I have a lot of beginner friendly patterns in my playlists, in my beginner friendly sewing playlist. So if you are thinking about picking up sewing, this is a perfect time to go check out that playlist. There's a lot of videos and projects that you can work on as a beginner sewist and continue to perfect your skill. Until next week, have a wonderful time.